This week on Weekly Out Loud News. It seems that the NFL and the protocols they have in place and the medical practitioners that they have and the equipment that they have in these arenas are the reason why Damar Hamlin is alive today. The medical doctor on CNN was saying it's the equivalent of actually getting struck by lightning. Commotio, which is a rare and severe event following the impact of a high-velocity projectile, typically resulting in cardiac arrest and immediate collapse. That's why after he got hit, he stood up and then fell right back down. Skip Bayless, who's a huge sports analyst, Skip's got to realize that this is not the 70s, this is not the 80s, this is a new generation, and we put mental health first. We put people first. This corporate greed and this corporate money first attitude is not what it used to be anymore, and people are thinking about people first. And the NFL showed that by postponing this game. The players showed that by putting their foot down and telling the NFL that they want to post this game. So Skip has got to be more careful with his tweets and not leave a tweet like that so open-ended, right? What up, everybody? It is your boy, Trent Out Loud, coming at you with TOL news. And normally, yes, I'm very upbeat. I have my sound effects, but today I'm reporting on a story that happened in the NFL last night on Monday Night Football of Damar Hamlin, which I'm sure by now most of you must have heard of, but I thought it was important for me to come on here and give you guys the what I normally do, my kind of in-depth research, and trying to give you guys the most up-to-date news from all of the different areas where I source some information. So I will try to do my best to give you this sad news. Damar Hamlin is presently in Cincinnati Hospital, University of Cincinnati Medical Hospital. He's listed as critical condition, but the good news is that he's under sedation and all his vital signs are back, and they have induced a coma so that they could put him on breathing machines, cool down his body temperature and just make sure everything is okay before bringing him out of a coma. So it definitely is shocking and sad news, but for now, things are looking positive, if you could say. But of course, everything is, minute by minute, second by second, when your heart stops beating. So definitely our prayers go out to Damar Hamlin, his family, the NFL family, and just everybody around the world. I mean, it's kind of shaking up everybody, especially in the sports world. But anyways, let me try to give you a quick roundup of what's happened in the past 12 to 15 hours since this happened. So Monday Night Football game was the first quarter. Damar Hamlin was a defensive back, a safety, and he went for like a routine tackle, but the Cincinnati Bengals ran into his chest. And from the research that I did, this is something that rarely happens. They say that a medical doctor on CNN was saying it's the equivalent of actually getting struck by lightning. So it's called, and sorry if I butchered the name of it, but a Commotio, which is a rare and severe event following the impact of a high-velocity projectile, typically resulting in cardiac arrest and immediate collapse. That's why after he got hit, he stood up and then fell right back down. Rapid identification and resuscitation are key to survival. Nonetheless, the survival rate is very low. So that's what I really wanted to hammer home here, the point of the NFL doing an amazing job. And I'm sure when this happened, everybody was like, oh my gosh, because, there's been a lot of like concussion talk in the NFL and about things being too rough, and they've changed a lot of rules in NFL lately to like protect the quarterbacks and protect players from concussions, and there's concussion protocol. So I'm sure when this happened, it was like, oh my gosh, like what is the NFL going to do? But it seems that the NFL and the protocols they have in place and the medical practitioners that they have and the equipment that they have in these arenas are the reason why Damar Hamlin is alive today. Now, again, this is all speculative. This is all from, doctors assuming of what it looks like has happened. There are no reports of what has happened, but these are some, CNN experts that were on CNN last night thinking from, the information that we have from the Cincinnati University Hospital and from what they've seen on the field. They're thinking that this is what happened. But, something like this would have happened, let's say, I don't know, like on a high school, playground. It may not have been as fortunate. Whoever it happened to may not have been as fortunate as Damar, because the NFL had everything that they needed there. There was somebody there to perform cardiac arrest, and they said that he got cardiac arrest. I'm sorry, they say that he got CPR within the first 10 seconds of collapsing, and then the defibrillator was applied, and then once they resuscitated his heart, so his heart actually stopped beating. So when the medical personnel on the field was actually able to resuscitate his heart, then is when they put him in the ambulance and took him to the hospital. So shout out to the NFL for that. I really wanted to highlight that point because a lot of people get on the NFL and how rough and tough it is, and all these players know like every play could be a risk to your life, and it's tough. It's really tough for these players out there. But shout out to the NFL and the medical staff and personnel that they had on the field that was able to resuscitate his heart that quickly and get into a hospital, which I think was like 2 or 3 kilometers away. So shout out to that whole team. Another great thing that the NFL did is the coaches got together and said, listen, man, like our players are not in any state to get back on the field, right? And a lot of people are saying like, oh, they've seen, players get hurt before, and, people have, got their face masks removed, but they can't take their helmet off because, the spinal cord injuries, and there's been so many injuries. But this is the first time in the history of the NFL that somebody's heart stopped on the field and you had to give this man CPR and resuscitate his heart. So these players were just like, yo, we don't want to return. We can't play this game right now. So the game was suspended. And yes, like it was a huge game, playoff implications, so late in the season, etc. But the players stood up in solidarity. They decided that they didn't want to play the game. The coaches went into the tunnel. And we don't know exactly who they were talking to, but of course they were speculating that it was the NFL commissioner and I think the head of teams. And I think within like 30 to 40 minutes, they were able to come together and collectively agree to postpone the game and not continue that night. So I thought that was a good move. And what a lot of people, I think, don't really think about is that this is a business, right? And that's going to cost them millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it's going to be a lot to try to put back on a game of that magnitude. There's 80, 90,000 people in the stands. There's, commercial sponsors, this or whatever, to try to reorganize that, especially again, this late in the season. And these Cincinnati and Buffalo will have another game on Sunday, so that they play it on Thursday. Then the players are not going to get the rest they need. So I'm sure all of that was discussed. But ultimately, Damar Hamlin's health and the scare that they had were more important, and they put their player and their brother above the money and the headache. So I thought that was just amazing from the players, the coaches, the NFL commissioner, and everything. So that's also a huge shout out to the coaches and the players. So all in all, it was just super well handled. The other thing that was a kind of cool story is that Damar has a Christmas toy drive that he's doing for kids in his community. And I'm actually refreshing it right now. It's a GoFundMe page. And he started out with his original goal of $2,500. By the time of his injury, by the time it hit the internet, I think within a few hours, it went up to $1 million. Then it went up to $2 million. When I went to bed last night, it was, I think, at like 2.5 or 2.7. I literally just refreshed right now. $3,959,580 raised. Literally in the next 10 or 15 minutes, it's going to hit $4 million of people around the world supporting Damar Hamlin's toy drive. So that was nice. Hopefully when he wakes up, out of his coma and, he gets back on his feet, I'm sure that's going to be a nice welcome home present for him and the kids in his community. The last piece of this story, which I was kind of didn't know if I wanted to report on, I don't know if it's necessarily really important, but Skip Bayless, who's a huge sports analyst, got on Twitter, and some people, a lot of people, really didn't like some of the things that he was tweeting about Damar. I'll read you a quick one. This is the one that really set people off. Well, there's two. I've seen so many horrific injuries suffered on the football field, yet never have I seen a reaction like this. In every other situation I've witnessed or covered, the game always went on fairly quickly. The attitude was, hey, this is football. For these players, this was different. And he put different in cap locks. I personally feel if you would have put different in quotations, kind of making fun of these players are different, I think that would have been that would have been for sure you would know that him saying different was in a negative way. But cap blocks, could mean, it depends on what side of the fence you're on. It could mean that, it's different. This is a different time. Some people took it in the negative way, different meaning that he was kind of looking down on these players as if this is the NFL. We're gladiators. Next up, let's go. Because that's always been the attitude. His next tweet was, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how? ? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. Again, no quotations, no nothing. He just left it a little open to interpretation. And I think maybe why I'm not reading it as negatively as some people is that I don't follow Skip Bayless as much as some of these people do. Of course I've seen Undisputed, but I kind of more catch it on the internet here or there, or on social media when something flares up. But I guess the people who know him better than I do and know his attitude, day to day, are reading it and interpreting it in a completely different way. And he got a lot of backlash online, people calling to cancel him. And, he got on Undisputed today and he read his following tweet, which is an apology. He says, nothing is more important than that young man's health. That was the point of my last tweet. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. Again, everything else is irrelevant. I pray for him and I continue to pray for him. And he just reiterated that today on his show. So, two ways to look at it. Skip Bayless has been covering sports for the past, I think, 50 years almost. I think we're too much in a rush to cancel people. I don't think there's anything in this tweet that calls for Skip to be canceled and end a 50-year career. However, on the flip side of it, Skip's got to realize that this is not the 70s. This is not the 80s. This is a new generation. And we put mental health first. We put people first. This corporate greed and this corporate, money first attitude is not what it used to be anymore. And people are thinking about people first. And the NFL showed that by postponing this game. The players showed that by putting their foot down and telling the NFL that they want to post this game. So Skip has got to be more careful with his tweets and not leave a tweet like that so open-ended, right? But I mean, how many of us has maybe written something online that, I've even text people things sometimes and they read it completely differently, thinking they know my attitude. Like, oh, Trent, I know you're meant it like this. And I'm like, no, I didn't mean it like that at all. You know what I mean? So, look, I'm not saying how you should feel about Skip Bayless. I'm definitely not standing up for that dude. But just know that I'm sure you have texted somebody something at some point and they've misinterpreted it. And also, Skip, you need to be a lot more careful with your open-ended tweeting. So that is it. Like I said, it's a little bit of a sad day in the sports world. It's home for me. I mean, I played football for 8 years. It's my number one sport. I actually played Damar's position at safety, and look, it's a dangerous sport. But this injury, a lot of doctors are saying if it is what it was, I'm not even trying to pronounce it again, Commotio cordis. It's like getting struck by lightning. So hopefully we'll never see anything like this again. Hopefully the NFL will continue to put emphasis on the players and players' health, and we never see anything like this happen again. And definitely shout out to Damar Hamlin, his entire family, his entire community, the entire NFL players, commissioners, and athletes all around the world, man. That's my take. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud. I'm out. Peace.